Welcome to Delicious and Nutritious, where we use the best quality ingredients to cook the tastiest food. And ladies and gentlemen, today what we are going to do is create a fine masterpiece that is going to be vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free mac and cheese. So with all that said, guys, let's jump right into this vegan mac and cheese, which then starts us off with the noodles. So today we are going to be using the jovial noodles. As always, they are brown rice pasta. Then we're obviously going to go to the cheese. So the cheese for us is going to be BioLife. This is going to be mozzarella shredded. We are going to use smoked provolone, mature cheddar slices, and then we are also going to use Parmesan as well. So we have a little bit of garlic powder right here. And then also I am going to recommend, if you guys want it a little bit spicy, you can add in crushed red pepper. Two more things. Number one, we're gonna have milk. And then finally, I am going to recommend some arrowroot flour. The reason why I like arrowroot flour is it's a really good thickener. And then obviously we have, as always, our pink Himalayan sea salt, which is what we're gonna use here. And then we also have a little bit of ground pepper if you guys do want to finish it off. So a lot of the cooking here is gonna take place on the stove, number one. And then number two, after I do that, I am going to put it in the oven. So as of right now, I would start boiling your water immediately. That's gonna be number one. Number two, then we're gonna start thickening up the sauce. And then number three, we are going to then put it into a glass pan baking dish, and we are going to put it in the oven. Let's jump into it right now. Okay, so jumping over here, we are going to be using the pan. So we're gonna go ahead and throw that on. And then we have our water boiling here that I'm gonna put in with the pasta real quick. 10 minutes on that. We're gonna start putting the cheese in here. We're gonna start melting it and congealing it together. We're gonna go with a little bit of milk. So I am going to start off with an 1/8 cup. And this is gonna be hemp milk. And then we're gonna start opening our cheeses. So this is gonna be the cheddar cheese, and then we have our provolone. And it took me a little while to kind of figure out the combination here. So I'm gonna go about half a package. This is approximately 6 slices of provolone right there. And then we're going in with the Parmesan cheese. So this is about half of the block of the Parmesan cheese. And then we're gonna go in with the BioLife mozzarella as well. This is gonna be shredded. And we are gonna do about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of the shredded mozzarella right there. And then we're gonna want to start stirring this around, starting to get it to melt. I'm cooking on about medium heat here. Using the tapioca starch is going to be determining on how thick you actually want it. So as you can see, guys, right here, we obviously are gonna probably want some more cheese than this, but I wanna stretch it out a little bit first before I start adding cheese in here. So I'm gonna take another 1/4 cup of the milk, and I'm gonna suggest, if you guys do have the heat temperature up at this point, you start turning it down. And so a couple key things to note while cooking. Number one, using hemp milk as well as other milks. Hemp milk is a little sweeter, right? Almond milk is also a little sweeter. Coconut milk, not as sweet. It's more of the thick milk. So just be careful when you use and choose which milk you're doing, because then you're gonna have to compensate with a little bit of the garlic as well as the salt if it's a little bit more sweeter of a cheese, unless you're going for a little bit sweeter of a mac and cheese. But typically for me, the mac and cheeses are a little bit more on the saltier end. All right, we are looking good. Looking good, looking good, looking good, melting it down. Please do grate if you want to make this process go a little bit easier. And now it is going to be time for the pasta. The water has taken a little bit more time to rolling boil than I would have liked. There's number one, number two. And then one thing I recommend is always stir your gluten-free pastas immediately. And you can always drop a little bit of coconut oil in there as well. I'm gonna recommend a little bit of water. The water will evaporate, about a 1/4 cup of water. I am going to go in with a little bit under a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic, and I'm just gonna do a couple cranks of salt and then stir this. You can also add a little bit of onion powder in there, and you're going to want to taste it to get this accustomed to how you want the mac and cheese to taste. Okay, just putting some final touches on the cheese. I'm gonna put a little bit more of the cheese in there. I'm using 3/4 of the package of both cheeses. I'm gonna put a little bit more water, another about 1/8 cup, and it's gonna impress your guests. Okay, so now we're just gonna sit here, let this congeal, let the pasta cook, and then we're gonna throw it all together. It's going right into the oven on 375 degrees before we move into the next step. Okay, we officially have this finished. So if you do want to make it spicy, now would be the time to add in a little bit of crushed red pepper. Here we go, everybody. We now have the cheese, the pasta. It is ready to go together. So when I do this, I don't really stir it because I kind of want the cheese to sit on top of everything. Here we go, getting everything in there. And I do have a little bit more pasta than I initially would do. I would probably make sure to stay around 1 for the first time, and then you can always add more, double the recipe. I just want to make a bunch of pasta because I'm going to multi-purpose it with another meal, so I just went ahead and I made 2. All right, there we go. That is going to come out amazing. Now we have the oven 375, and we are going to put it in there for approximately 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to check on it, and we're going to see if we like how it's going to crisp everything up. And if we do, we do, and if we don't, we will put it in there for a little bit longer. Time to pop this in the oven, and we're gonna be right back with you. And here we have it. Yes, mac and cheese. That's gluten-free. Does it not look like Velveeta? It is absolutely incredible. Wow. I'm excited to try this with you guys. I'm just gonna point out, I cooked this for about 5 more minutes, so I was in there for about 20 minutes total. The one thing I am gonna caution you guys is that when you're using this particular pasta or any other pasta and you don't get the sauce all around to the corners, they will start to harden up a little bit. The other thing, when heating up gluten-free pasta, I always suggest to put a little bit of water. I don't know, maybe you gotta test it out, a 1/16 cup in there, very, very, very small amount of water, a tablespoon, and heat it up with the pasta in the saucer. Obviously the goal is not to make the pasta watery, but it's enough water to like rejuvenate the pasta as if it just came out of the water. So there we have it, gluten-free, dairy-free, almost all the way organic mac and cheese. Look at that right there. That looks great. So we are gonna go ahead and pull off a little bit right there, and we're gonna serve it up. Could definitely use probably a little less pasta. I went a little overboard. It happens from time to time. And we have ourselves, it's really super tasty. Gluten-free, dairy-free. Throw a little bit of pepper on top just to garnish it off with. And there you have it. So thank you everybody for tuning in and cooking with me today. I'm excited to make some more delicious and nutritious recipes with everybody so we can keep changing the world one bite at a time. Peace.